Okay, so well, okay, good. All right, so this is our regular meeting, Wednesday, July 23rd. Go ahead and call our meeting to order at 5:33. And do we have a motion to approve our agenda for today? A second?
A second.
All right, public comment provides an opportunity for members of the public to address the commission on items of interest to the public within the commissioner's jurisdiction and which are not already on the agenda this evening. It is the policy of the commission not to answer questions impromptu. Speakers should limit their comments to no more than 3 minutes. For items which are on the agenda this evening, members of the public will be provided an opportunity to address the board as each item is brought up for discussion. Any public comment? No public comment. Okay, that brings us to our regular calendar. Item 1, approval of the minutes from April 23rd, 2025. Do we have a motion to approve those? Okay, in a second. Okay. Right, item number 2, the dog park additional project proposal. And we'll turn this over to.
Good evening, commissioners, and thanks for joining us tonight for our regularly scheduled meeting. This agenda is just to kind of cover a basic overview of the recently completed dog park project. At the end of the project, there were some additional funds that weren't utilized by the contractor. And so at one of the last meetings that we hosted, we had discussed some potential options of utilizing those funds without just letting them go. And it was the direction of this commission to go ahead and focus on fencing for the project. And so the Public Works Director sat down with the engineering department and they came up with that greenscape fencing that's going to go on the freeway side of the park. It's going to be like a barrier so that you can't see on either side. It's greenscaping that looks like a plant. They're just going to kind of go and weave through the chain link to go across that side. And so that project, that portion of the project is currently still underway. Right now we're just working on some final estimates. And then once we get that in and delivered, Public Works is going to be doing the work in-house, so we'll save some money doing that on our end. And currently Caltrans is working on some updates on their side of the fence. They're doing some maintenance and cleaning on the other side, so if you drive by, you may see some people out there cleaning that side, which is great timing because once they get that completed, it'll make it a lot easier for us to do our update on that fence. And so that's supposed to be estimated to be completed by the end of August. So we've got a couple of weeks away for that portion. The other portion would be on the west or the east side, which is the broken down fence between us and that construction company that shares the fencing line with the dog park. And so the city is working with them to vacate that area. And once that essentially happens, then we'll go ahead and go through and make updates to that portion of the fencing. So that'll come out and we'll replace it with some newer fencing. So that'll at least address some of that. Like I said, it was an extra $30,000 that we didn't spend originally. And so we want to utilize that before we do all final grant submissions for the state project. And hopefully everyone's been out to the dog park after the grand opening. And if there are any comments that you've heard, I'd like to hear them if there are any. Public Works was out there today and they did want me to bring up to you the maintenance. So the contracting company has ended their portion of maintaining the park. Now it's up to the city's Public Works Department to continue on with the maintenance. They'd like to maintain the park once a week, but they realize that it is a larger project than they might have anticipated. So they do start, and it is noticed that the park is closed Tuesday mornings till 9 a.m. To do maintenance on the park. But the last several weeks, they've noticed that 9 a.m. isn't quite enough time to get it completed. And so right now they're having issues with people trying to come in while they're doing maintenance. They do have some frustrated residents that are kind of waiting for them to finish. But their idea is to extend that window from 9 to 12 to give them a little bit extra time to complete it properly and not trying to do a rush job, and also trying to discourage people from going into the fencing area while they're conducting maintenance. So I just wanted to bring that up to you. If commissioners have comments or concerns or would rather us not do that or go in that direction, we'd like to hear it. But I'll pass it over to the commission and you guys can complete your or continue your discussion. Thank you.
I think if we just update the signage about maintenance, then I think that should be helpful. Because I mean, it needs to be maintained. So yeah, I think we update the signage.
Everyone's okay with that, and we don't want to do an all day. We don't want to do just specific. We want to do a specific time and period so that everyone knows or gets accustomed to knowing that is when it's closed. And like I said, right now it's currently posted 9. If we could push it to 12, they're not saying it's going to take that long, but it would give them that window. Obviously, if they're done by 9:30, 10 o'clock, then by all means they'll open the gate and go from there. And so yeah, that was their only request today was that. But
yeah. Okay. I think if we post, then I think it should be fine. I've only heard positive comments from the community in regards to the dog park. I've been out there, clients have gone there, even other trainers that I know have talked about or taken their dogs out there. And so I've heard positive comments. I know that there was something about a tree that was dropping things. I didn't see it. I went and walked. I guess there was a tree that
it was Public Works promptly removed the tree after some comments on Facebook. Okay. It was an old cherry tree that was on the property beforehand. We just tried to save all the trees without disturbing anything that was already there before our project started. And it was grown. It was by the smaller dog park area, and it was a cherry tree. But there were concerns that it was a plum tree that could potentially be poisonous to animals or dogs if they ate the pits. And so Public Works, without trying to cause any issue, just went out there and removed it so that we didn't have to worry about it. But yeah, it wasn't part of the new contract. It wasn't part of the new project. It was just an old tree that we thought would stay there and kind of add some aesthetics to the park. So, but it's been removed. So
yeah, that's what I figured, and it was removed pretty fast because I saw it and I was like, "Let me go walk this," and I was like, "I didn't see, I didn't see anything." So that was great. Yeah. Did anyone else have any comments?
Quick question. So the fence on the side with the construction company, what are we exactly doing with that? Are we doing the greenscaping again, or are they just repairing like how it was leaning?
They're just repairing the chain link portion. Okay. So the lane, they're just addressing the state of that section of fencing. But I was told today it was just that they're waiting for the tenants to go ahead and vacate the area, and then we can go ahead and he's estimating late August, mid-September for that completion. And that's, again, just utilizing those funding. Obviously, there are other improvements that we like to see as time goes on. And so then we'll just continue adding to that portion.
Regarding comments, also friends and neighbors utilize the park, and I've heard nothing but positive.
Good. I'm glad.
Awesome. Any other comments on this? Nope. Okay. Awesome. Thanks so much, Adam. All right, item number 3, Keens Estate Phase 5, the inclusive playground design update.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, Jen Peterson has worked with the subcommittee on the Phase 5 all-inclusive play structure for the West Star construction, slotted to be completed in the near future. There's no actual estimated timeline. But essentially what this project is to include an all-inclusive playground in a city park, which is something we currently do not have. We might have ADA compliant equipment, but we don't have an all-inclusive. And so this was sent out to the subcommittee who's met with the Game Time MRC rep. They met last month or a month and a half ago to go over some specifics on what they thought they would like to see. And the 2 options you have in front of you today are the outcome of those subcommittee meetings. They were able to sit down and select certain features of the playgrounds, designs, things that work together to make it all inclusive for all age groups, all abilities to go out there and at least participate in some way or form or fashion in the park, which I think is a great start, a great step for what Kingsburg wants to see in all of its parks. But starting small and hopefully this kind of progresses into larger projects down the road. So just to give you a brief breakdown, because I know it was included in your packet, the 2 projects, option 1 is essentially a smaller version. It's more economical to have it included in the project. It's a 200 and to about $240,000, $240,000 play structure. Again, that's only the cost for the structure itself. Doesn't include any improvements or any of that to the park. But right now, the focus is just the structure, and it is on the screen for you to kind of. I know we did print it out too, but it is on the screen for you. Like I said, it does have different features. It does have panels, things that were selected by the subcommittee to have included in the park. And so yeah, so that again is the option that we have for that one. If you have any specific questions, I mean, I know it's a lot of subcommittee might be able to step in and just kind of talk about the process if they like, or how these kind of things came about. I know they sat down with the catalog and kind of chose certain elements of the playground, and was more involved than I thought it was. And so I'm very proud of the subcommittee for sitting down and kind of coming up with these things and putting them together. Option 2 is similar because, of course, they came from the same ideas. However, it does include a little bit more. There is an exterior climber or ramp on one of the things that one of the commissioners had suggested. And so that was included in the second design. At the end of all of it, it also includes a swing feature that's not connected to the play structure. But the swing was kind of instrumental in the idea that the city wants to help apply for a grant to help cover the cost for this project. And it's a grant through Game Time MRC. And that grant has to meet certain qualifications. There has to be certain areas where it hits all the marks in order for us to qualify for that. And unfortunately, after the development of the two options, only the second option meets that criteria. And because of the swing feature that it's included, that kind of gives all of the things that the National Site Association is looking for to say, hey, we want to help fund this project. And so the commission again was able to kind of put these together and meet all those criteria, mark all those boxes. And so tonight, your options were obviously to go through and just take a look at these playground features, ask any questions if you have any, and then essentially recommend one so that we can go ahead and move forward with the next steps, which would be essentially taking this to council and Westar and saying, hey, these are the options that we had. This is what we'd like to see out there, and then essentially have them go forward with that. And so with that kind of concludes that. Option 2, I didn't give you a number, is 289,000, so about 290,000 for the second option. The first one was the 230. Again, that is the one that covers, that essentially 50% gets covered with the grant. So keeping that in mind, if we were to be awarded that grant for this project, half of that would be the city's responsibility.
I think this looks great. My only question is, do we have plans for like a shade structure?
So that is a question I was supposed to bring up tonight. So thank you for reminding me. There are two options that the subcommittee had discussed, and it was either a hip structure, which is what you currently see at our parks. It's the 4 posts over the play structure, versus a sail shade structure, which is incorporated in and throughout the play structure. It looks like ship sails that kind of go over. We don't have any currently in town, but that would be the two options. The sail is obviously, but the subcommittee kind of discussed it. It provides less shade. It's more aesthetically pleasing to the eye, whereas the hip structure is literally that blanket tarp that just covers all of it completely. And like I said, all of our parks currently have a shade structure that has the 4 posts. And so my recommendation would just be going with that.
Yeah.
But yes, it will have, to answer your question, it will have a shade structure over the plate.
There is the sail structure at the Baptist church, and I do workout class over there, and it does shade you.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I forgot about that.
So I think it does work. I don't know what the cost.
I was just told it's more economical to go with the hip structure because it's more of a standard, and it doesn't get incorporated with a lot. But of course, we could go either way. It just depends on, and I don't have a number for that, but that would be separate from the playground.
I think if we went with the shade that all of our other parks currently have, it'd be uniform.
obviously color schemes and all that haven't been selected. And this is just kind of your primary example. When we get closer to it, you guys can have those discussions on what you'd like, the schemes to look like. Could possibly even go along with the discussion of how we're going to name the park and all that. So, and that was just, and again, kind of give you more of a visual of what the park amenities are and potentially what it will look like.
So I like option 2. I like option 2. I guess one big part for me is that climbing to the larger slides, and the way that is built, because the other one only has stairs to the larger slide, where this one has that other structure that we had talked about in our committee meeting, or where you can kind of see where it joins. There's stairs, and then the other children can also climb and kind of meet together there. So I feel like that's a lot more just inclusive. It's not a stopping point for other children that might be playing. And then, of course, the swing. I really like the swing.
Yeah, I'm all for option 2 as well. And knowing that the grant covered 50%, that's awesome.
We did apply for that grant. It was due July 7th. And I just went ahead and took the liberty of submitting it anyway with the option 2 because it's the only one that qualified. And so as soon as we hear back from them, I just didn't want to miss the opportunity and then have to wait another cycle. So hopefully by the next meeting we'll have a.
I agree with option 2.
All right, so we needed to vote on this one, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so do we have a motion to approve option 2 for that? In a second?
Second.
Okay. Awesome. All right, item number 4, Park and Recreation Park Master Plan Survey Update.
Perfect. So this is short and brief. The survey I sent out to all of you right before this meeting, a link with the actual link and QR code that we have available for the Parks Master Plan survey. It was just released. The city released it on the 8th of July. It's been gone out to the carrier and it's gone out online. And it's just the general questions that we have currently presented to you back in April. They were just general questions asking about your input on the parks and the recreational service survey, which is a lot more than I was anticipating this soon. And the goal is to get 350 to 400 and to respond to the survey so that we can move on to the next step. And essentially that's then putting together the workshops and the in-person meetings with all of the representatives from local organizations, sports groups, council, commissions, and getting them to compile the data, show them the results, and then start compiling the work we need for the Parks Master Plan. So I'm excited. Hopefully a majority of you have taken a look at the survey. If you haven't yet, like I said, QR code is there. We do have to send it out to as many people as possible. There's an article that we worked on yesterday that will be going out with the Mid-Valley Times, the local paper. So they'll do something for us. I haven't reached out to Dollar Monthly yet to kind of see what their approach is. But if you've got a networking group and you have people online, if you'd like to just send that out, it takes about 10-15 minutes. And like I said, once we hit our number, then we can sit down with Fresno State reps and start going and doing the heavy lifting of compiling what we need for our updated master plan. So that's all I have, but I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
Awesome. Any questions? Anybody? Yeah, I got it in the carrier. Awesome. All right. Okay. Future agenda items. Do we have any commissioners that want to add anything? Future agenda items? No. Okay. All right. So we'll go ahead and adjourn our meeting. Do we have a motion to adjourn our meeting? Motion to adjourn. Second. Second. Okay. So we'll adjourn our meeting at 5:53 p.m.